Okay. Hi, everybody. Happy Wednesday. My name is Jenny Gomez, and I'm the Product Marketing Director here at LucidWorks. Thanks so much for joining us today. I hope it's going to be a really fun and engaging chat. I've thrown some polls in there so we can all stay a little bit engaged. We're going to get into the nitty-gritty of the customer experience, specifically as it pertains to our service industry, but we'll talk a little bit more broadly about customer experience as a whole in the beginning of the webinar. And we're also going to talk about what tech might be the best bet to make all of the investments we're making in customer experience and customer service really hum. So it's become an increasingly challenging ecosystem to keep up with, and our customers' expectations have shifted really drastically. But before I jump in, a couple of housekeeping items, actually more than a couple. We are recording this presentation, and it will be available after today. So we'll send you a nice email in case you weren't able to attend, or you attended and you loved it and want to forward to friends. We encourage all of that, of course. Slides will be available after the webinar is complete. Please open the Attendee Chat widget on your viewing console. I will be logged in and I'll try to converse with you, but my colleague Jill will also be helping me with questions as I'm sort of live in this webinar. And then if you need technical assistance, please reach out through the Q&A section. And lastly, I have a dog here in the room with me, and she's sleeping right now, but she might bark, so we'll cross that bridge when we get to it, the challenges of working from home. So let's jump right in. So digital transformation has been a buzzword for a while. I think we all have been talking about it for a long time. The term was officially coined by a group at MIT in 2011, but there's been conversations around digital overhaul since the dawn of machine computing back in like the 50s, 60s, and 70s. So of course, with the pandemic and the sudden massive shift in the way we do just about anything, the need for digital transformation has gone from a nice to have to absolutely critical to business success. And nowhere is this more evident than in the customer experiences that influence customer service. People that might have never shopped online or used a chatbot are suddenly turning to all of these channels in droves as we've been locked indoors and in need of new ways to solve everyday situations. Because of this, as we've seen, other pieces of our industry and other industries have been upended, things we might not have thought about completely intuitively. Supply chains, warehouse operations, call centers that had to go virtual all of a sudden. Nothing will ever really be the same. And we need to meet these demands really fast. We're incredibly passionate about customer service here at LucidWorks. We recently put a much more pronounced stake in the ground for our customer service customers, and we're excited what the future holds for the whole industry. We understand that at this moment, there's more pressure than ever on support teams to deliver on their KPIs, and the way that our customers are asking for help, like I mentioned, is also changing at a rapid clip. You read stats like users will spend 20% more of their time on messaging apps in 2020 and 2021, or things like 70% of customers now expect a company's website to include a self-service application. These are big technology infrastructures to think about, and weaving new self-service and messaging applications into existing workflows, especially for big enterprise companies, it's not easy, but it is critical. So as we know, customers are firmly in the driver's seat. And when a customer is not satisfied with their experiences, it's easier than ever before for them to just click out of a site and into a competitor's, or to throw out an RFP for a new B2B solution. And these stats aren't just in customer service. The whole experience from marketing to shipping to face-to-face interactions are all impacted by this. Customers have more options than ever before, and the experiences that we surface to them at every step of the journey needs to build loyalty, trust, and empathy. This isn't new news, but the numbers are clear, and it shows us our path. These stats showcase just a snapshot of what's out there in the industry these days, but it's safe to say that these trends will hold throughout, no matter what vertical we're in. So let's start with the very basics, and I'll use this moment to set a quick baseline. What is customer experience? Customer experience, or CX, refers to the broader customer journey across an organization and includes every interaction between the customer and the business. So CX captures how the customer uses a product or service, the interactions with self-service or support options, the feeling of walking into a retail store, and customer service interactions with the team. You name it. If a customer is touching your brands or products, that's part of the experience. So customer experience generally breaks out into three main components: customer service, which includes support, success, and self-service; technology, so that's the products themselves, and it doesn't have to be tech. This is how they work and the interactivity points with them. This could hold true of, say, a cup of coffee, how it tastes, the temperature it arrives at. That's part of your product and the technology that you're creating. That cup of coffee becomes way more important in the customer service ecosystem. So design, this is a brand touch point. The marketing, the design, the feelings your brand creates for the customer. Now, while these areas are quite distinct, there are no hard lines between them. All of the pieces combine and work together to make up the customer experience. So when it comes to customer experiences, this report from Salesforce State of the Connected Customer, this is from this year in 2021, it showcases it best. The experience itself has become as valuable as any of the products or services a company provides. That's a massive statement. This implies that an investment in creating a thoughtful journey for your customers is as important as anything you build or sell, no matter if you're an everyday consumer or a B2B provider. I recently had an experience with a new dentist here in town, and I was looking for a new dentist. I'd had a couple bad experiences, and I walked into this new dentist's office, and the way the office smelled was amazing. All of the furniture in the office was like really modern and comfortable. Everybody greeted me with a smile, and even the dental experience itself. There was a TV on the ceiling. They gave me sunglasses so I didn't have to stare at the dental hygienist. And then they gave me this nice little sort of like face refresher wipe after the cleaning to sort of like wipe my face and freshen myself up. All of those little experiences have made me completely loyal to that dentist, those thoughtful touches. When there's that much competition out there, you have to be thinking about almost every little piece. It's overwhelming, but I think we can solve some of it with some automation and tech. So this is a cultural shift for us business leaders. We have to be thinking creatively, and we need to respect every piece of the journey that a customer interacts with when they encounter our brands and products. The same goes for the employee experience now, too. The consumer expectations bleed into what people expect when they're at work. So if your employees are the ones supporting the customer experiences, then you should also be thinking about how their experiences reflect the journey as well. It's 360. So I wanted to surface some of the stats that back up that Salesforce report. A couple of these are a little older, but it only showcases that the customer experience sort of industry has been ramping up rather than slowing down. These, and there are more like these out there, prove that an investment in customer experience is an unmistakable driver for growth and revenue. Companies that are spending money on granular changes to every touch point are the companies that are coming out on top. I think about things like Tesla and their dog mode technology, and I think of my little pup that's sitting on the floor right now. So Tesla has this dog mode like solution that it allows you to leave your car running and locked when your little furry buddy is in the car so that you can go run an errand. It might seem silly. Why would Tesla invest in creating technology in a car that worries about a pet? Let's look at some numbers. If you look at the market trends, there's been a 56% increase in pet ownership in the US since 1988. 48 million US households own dogs. So now, all of a sudden, you have a whole new set of possible Tesla customers who might not have thought about buying that car without that creative customer experience touch point. And it keeps you brand loyal because you feel like the brand cares about you. I never would have thought to buy a Tesla, but now I'm thinking about it because can you imagine I can leave my dog in the car while I run to go do groceries and she'll stay nice and cozy and temperature controlled. So it's the little things sometimes. So I'm going to surface some brands that I think we all know do wonderful things in customer experience. I don't think any of us are strangers to any of these brands. These are brands that have made huge public shifts towards customer experience initiatives in the past 10, 15, 20 years, and they've come out on top because of it. These companies are the gold standard of customer experience. So Apple, the OGs. Where Apple comes out on top is design and branding, right? Steve Jobs made it his priority to create user experiences that became the most innovative products we've ever known. They brought the same experience to every product that their customers touch. The iMac, the iPhone, the iPad, even the Apple Store is designed to create the same customer experience. It's a 100% holistic experience from website to purchase to human interaction at the Genius Bar to products in their hands. So that goes into that sort of design and branding piece of the customer experience. And then there's Zappos, of course, the customer experience behemoth, or the customer service behemoth, rather. To quote their culture guide, Rio Sun, We have an amazing ability to create a natural, personal, emotional connection with our customers, says Sun. That customer experience turns into the story that the customer shares with their friends, their families, and on social media. The late Tony Hsieh built a culture that went from the inside out. He believed in employee experiences that created amazing customer experience. He also simplified his customer service analytics and threw out the traditional KPIs. He implemented 24/7 support, made the telephone the heaviest hitter in his service ecosystem to create that one-to-one human connection, and he made every shipping experience free and generally easy to manage. These details literally changed the game for customer service in the digital world. Now, Starbucks is one of my favorite examples, and I wanted to cite one specific way that they changed things to create a better customer experience. Back in the 90s, they were opening more and more stores, and they were giving customers the opportunity to buy 88 coffee drinks. And they were overwhelming the customer with choices, and they started to lose market share. They wanted the customer to have anything they could possibly want, but it wasn't working. The stock was plummeting, and their CEO, Howard Schultz, needed to think of a way to pivot. So yeah, they changed the ambience of their stores. They invested in flavor lock technology, so there was a consistent taste from store to store, and they changed their menu. When you walk into a Starbucks today, you're greeted with 12 options. The standards in the middle, the seasonal options on the left, and the geographically unique options on the right. They simplified the choice of the customer. So obviously you can still walk in and order probably hundreds of different amalgamations of a coffee drink today at Starbucks, but what you see helps your brain make a simpler decision by not bombarding you with the paradox of choice. Talk about thoughtful. And then Delta. We'll use an airline example to talk about revenue. In 2010, Delta publicly announced a $3 billion investment in the customer experience. They did everything from change their airport facilities, they did airplane retrofits, there was new technology platforms to deal with purchase transactions. They gave you free headsets. They partnered with Starbucks to have the best coffee, faster in-flight Wi-Fi. Well, depends. The works. So in the past 10 years before the pandemic, if you had invested in Delta, your stock price would have gone up almost 500%. So even an airline can win at great customer experiences. So as you can see, customer experience is a big winner. From Forrester, they cite the top revenue drivers that make the customer experience a success. You retain your customers buy more of your products, and they tell people they know about their great experiences. The long tail rewards are super easy to see, and the companies we just talked about are big examples. If you invest in CX in your business, even by making small changes, you'll reap the benefits. The data speaks for itself. So let's actually go into a quick poll. We talked about one of the specific pillars of customer service. We set the stage. I'm going to just ask you guys to take a quick poll. Do you think you know the difference between customer experience and customer service? We talked about it a little bit beforehand, but let's see where we land today as a group, because I'm curious to see if we're aligned in our thinking of where customer experience and customer support might be different or the same. From here, we'll chat about what it means to support customer service and customer experience as one. There's no wrong answers. I just want to discover kind of where we are here as a group. So I'll give you guys a couple seconds to just click yes or no, and we'll see where we are as a crew here. So 100%. Everybody is 100% sure that they know the difference between customer experience and customer service. All right, well, maybe I can get you to change your thinking just a little bit. We'll see. So, yes, the customer experience is the whole. And customer service is a pillar of that whole. However, I am going to try to flip the narrative a little bit in our chat and try to uncover some ways that service and experience are blending more and more. And like the title of the webinar, it really happens with the data and technology that you bring together to support your experiences. Let's dive a little deeper into service, shall we? So this is kind of how the industry thinks of where service fits in today. A specific time, place, and channel where a human or a machine trained by a human, like a chatbot, interacts with a customer. We still think in very reactive terms when we talk about customer service. The customer has a problem with our products or services, the customer reaches out, and our support staff tries to solve that problem. The experience is how a customer thinks about your whole brand, right? Okay, so I love this Venn because it looks at how the two pieces of experience and service are split up or defined, let's say. But as I look at the left side of the diagram, I see a lot of touch points that should be on the service side on the right. Proactivity, being feelings oriented, attracting and retaining customers, even the whole across the customer journey piece. I surface this diagram because I think it's wrong. This feels like the old way of thinking. And in a new world of pandemic era digital transformation, where every touch point is connected and augmented by the other, these two sides really start to blend. It doesn't mean that we throw away any of the touch points on the right. No, of course, we still need all of those, but we should be thinking of ways to weave everything on the left into the right side. We're going to talk a little bit more about proactive service and ways that we can disrupt our own customer experiences and why to invest in the technology to support it. So let's jump in on another poll. Again, I want to get a temperature check from the audience to see where we might stand as far as our service experiences. There's been so many shifts in the ways our customers engage with us, and the proliferation of channels has caused us to change the way we look at our entire service ecosystem. So generally, we have support staff trained and allotted to different channels: voice, social, chat, email. So do we think that this creates more risk for our company by having more ways for our customers to engage, or more growth? So let's see what you guys said. Okay, so we think it's more growth. That's great. That's awesome, because we're going to talk about ways to take all those channels to create these omni-channel experiences and those proactive experiences that are really gonna, that you'll really be able to see that you guys are right. We're going to see some growth. So let's talk a little bit about proactive service and some of the ways that we can take the reactive burden off of our support staff by creating experiences that start at the beginning of the customer journey. So there's been a lot of buzz in the industry around proactive versus reactive service. What does it really mean for us in the day-to-day? How do we build tech stacks that support proactive versus reactive? The reason why proactive service has become so effective, if it's done correctly, is that it creates emotional experiences for the customer that personalizes their journey from the beginning and even predicts their needs based on third-party and contextual data of like-minded customers. Proactive service is really the glue that brings the customer experience and the customer service experience together as one. Marketing emails and surveys, beautiful and intuitive self-service, these are just some of the ways that the customer experience that makes the customer experience for support proactive. So as the proactive service side of the industry is making strides and digital transformation needs to coincide with these experiences, we're moving towards more creative channels to make these experiences hum along with the reactive sides of our business. Things like surveys that can be sent when the customer is in a sales cycle, creative knowledge bases that learn and update automatically, using machine learning that's algorithmically tied to contact center and help desk cases, personalized recommendations for adjacent products that respond to a customer's purchases or clicks, email newsletters that contain branded content that extends how a customer uses a product or service, social media channels that don't just respond to queries, but offer up solutions and information before a problem arises. So being almost educational with our social media channels, loyalty programs that loyalty programs that reward customers for usage, and of course, empathy and honesty when things go wrong. And I think that's the most important thing, being transparent with our messaging, being honest about who we are as a company to our customers. All of these things are wildly important. So creative companies have done things like creating experiential experiences in brick and mortar stores. Timberland, the outdoor retailer, they installed AR screens in their stores that let a customer try on a new product using a responsive, full-size touchscreen that lets them swipe through options. This saves time for them in the fitting room and allows for your average order values to go up by presenting accessories and other products that works with, say, a new winter jacket or a pair of boots. Or IKEA, which lets a shopper use their smartphone to place new products right in their home using their AR app. Retail shopping from your couch? Yes, please. So let's talk about some more of that tech. I mentioned a few of the things. So nowadays in customer service, there's no lack of technology that's being built to try and help us solve all of our pain points. There's a myriad of different solutions out there that are supposed to be helping us and our customers with our experiences and our journey, whether they want to help themselves or whether they want to ask an agent. I just wanted to showcase several of the buckets that currently exist. Your tech stack for customer service probably looks far more complex than this and likely a little different. But these were some of the big buckets that when we asked around people in the industry, this is kind of what they surfaced. Obviously, you want to have your CRM that connects to your help desk or your service console. You want that service console to be talking to your chat software, your voice of the customer solutions, your feedback loop technology, your contact center, maybe your digital adoption solutions. All of that could be layered on with experience orchestration that theoretically makes life easier for your agents in the help desk or your customers in the self-service portal. And then team collaboration solutions so that folks across your organization can be talking to each other to triage, anything that's going on with customers, difficult queries, things like that. In theory, all of these tech partners should be working harmoniously together. And one of the most pressing challenges that we're currently facing in the industry is that they, in fact, aren't a lot of the time. There's a lot of silos, a lot of walled gardens, and that's, I think, where a lot of the future state optimism lies. In a commissioned study by Forrester Consulting on behalf of Intercom, which was undertaken back in April of this year, Intercom learned that 37% of support leaders and decision makers are satisfied with their organization's current digital channels and solutions. So although 69% of respondents for that consulting survey say that personalized support experiences are the key to building strong customer relationships, less than half of them believe that they can deliver those support experiences at scale with their current tech stack. So there's work to do. And it's up to vendors like us to create those holistic partnerships that will drive this kind of harmony within the ecosystem. But we're hopeful for what the future holds. So I've tried to snapshot what I think some of our service tech stack looks like. But I wanted to ask the audience, there's lots of moving parts, and every category could be clicked down to even further. The complexity is real. And this is the second to last poll, I promise. I wanted to sort of get a general idea from the audience. Are you investing in any of the emerging technology that could support these complexities and automate some of this journey today? I bring up personalization, AI and ML, omni-channel data connectivity. So that's really thinking about connecting your data across the customer experience. And are you augmenting your chatbots with intelligence, with voice? Are you bringing that data even into the chatbot experience? I want to gauge where you guys are, how you guys are thinking about the new ways to innovate your business. So only intelligent chatbots today, interesting. That says a lot about what's happening in the post-pandemic era. There's a lot of focus towards chatbots today, so this is interesting to see. I want to drill down into some of the specific pieces of this emerging tech. So that we can chat through ways that they might be able to support your service businesses today. I'll dive into why we need to be connecting our data across all of our third-party systems, really that whole customer experience data connectivity, why we should be copying from our commerce cohorts and making every touch point personal to our users. And I want to talk about how machine learning can be used to create those predictive recommendations for that proactive service I talked about. And I definitely want to jump into making the service experience better for the most important people in that ecosystem. And that's not the customer. That might be our amazing service agents. So let's talk data, and more importantly, data connectivity. So digital transformation needs to start with the data. And might be one of the most difficult pieces to solve for, because we have to recognize within our own organization, everybody in an organization that is touching any customer data. And we have to unite those teams and then unite that data. I'll talk a little bit about an example, a commerce example. So if you're understanding the role of your digital channels, that your digital channels play in the overall customer experience from consideration to purchase is difficult, but it's crucial. So businesses often look at, let's say, basket abandonment as failed conversion, but understanding that a customer is not wholly abandoning, but may actually be mid-purchase, it's strategically essential that we're able to identify when a customer is doing something like abandoning a cart, or if they're just going through a customer experience exploration. So particularly in consumer products, customers may go online to review potential purchases, but then go into a store to test or experience the specific product. That customer might purchase in the store, but their digital experiences would have had a significant impact on their purchase behavior. So optimizing your CX and your customer service experience requires having enough data to really show you a complete view of your customer, connecting your web data with your self-service portal data, with your brick and mortar data, with all of your purchase data across every channel. Those are the kinds of things that are creating omni-channel customer experiences. So since the customer provides you with that data every time they interact with your company, you need the right software to use the data effectively, right? This is a lot of data happening at scale, and it's very difficult to capture that. And that is where software solution providers come into play. So a complete integrated suite of cloud applications is probably best here. For something like that commerce example, you want to include your marketing automation platform, your e-commerce platforms like a Shopify, your customer service platforms, your CRM, your CPQ, your Salesforce automation solutions, as well as your CDP, which is your customer data platform, to help you unify that data into complete profiles and actionable intelligence. So in order to then make all of that hum, we need to automate some pieces of that, right? It's virtually impossible to manually create all of these processes when data is scaled at the way it is today. So that's when we need to talk about applying machine learning and applied AI. The benefits for AI for companies are clear. It's increased efficiency and better engagement by meeting customers where they are. And there's the deeper value of AI, and the deeper value of AI and machine learning lies in enhancing that customer experience. But it requires a human touch. Automation first found its way into customer service as a means for companies to keep up with the ever-increasing number of devices and channels that customers use to interact, like we talked about, all of that data connectivity. It's blending chatbots and human agents to improve the performance of both while elevating the customer experience. Artificial intelligence and machine learning continue to advance, and customer expectations continue to rise. So this trend is just going to continue to grow. The secret is finding the balance between the virtual and the human. Gartner, who I sort of quote here on this slide, they're not the only source predicting that blended AI is the future. There was a recent My Customer article that stated, the successful contact center of the future will be able to harness the best of both the human and the automated worlds to give customers the service and experience that they want. And according to Business Insider, US consumers appear to be warming up to the idea of using chatbots as a customer relationship management tool. Nevertheless, businesses must ensure that the chatbot experience isn't substandard, lest they risk alienating customers. So your team here is your most valuable asset when it comes to how to improve the customer experience. How your team is trained to handle clients will determine how they respond to your brand. You have to make sure your team has proper onboarding set up, as well as ongoing training for your customer service team. And don't be afraid to think outside the box. You can deliver training online using multimedia material, quizzes, one-on-one personal attention. You figure out what's best for you and your teams. So now that you have all of your data connected and the machine learning teams have been united and trained and prioritized, now you can tackle personalization. The rise of personalization tools and popularity has meant the rise of companies doing personalization the wrong way. In fact, all the way back in 2018, marketers were more unsatisfied with their personalization efforts than in previous years. So in customer service, we can also think of personalization. There's two ways to think about it. There's the real one-on-one human interactions, which still hold true. Use a customer's first name, make eye contact if you're speaking in person, use video chat instead of a phone call in this post-pandemic or currently pandemic world. You get the idea. But when it comes to technology, it's a little bit more complex. We need the data to be unified, and we should be building algorithms that help us optimize that data. A lot of personalization in customer service comes down to respecting a customer's history. Where did they click on your site? Did they open a marketing email? What did they read? What did they buy? What didn't they buy? What did they return? Did they leave feedback? Have they contacted customer service before? All these questions should get answered if you're going to personalize the customer journey and bring that journey back into your support organization. Imagine calling customer service, let's say, and hearing something like, hey, Jenny, how's the weather in North Carolina today? I saw you just bought a harness for your dog, BB. How's it working? Do you have any questions? If I willingly gave all that information to a company when I purchased something, I would love an experience that would be able to relay that back to me when I talked to a person when I needed a solution. And what if all that information was surfaced to an agent because there was connectivity with all of the data and all of the platforms were connected via, say, APIs? And the CRM, the contact center, the website, the marketing automation tools, all the tools that touch the customer experience was surfaced to an agent in a way that was easy to understand. So now we're delivering a service experience that's as close to seamless as possible. Now, is there more? Well, there could be, right? With all of this data, machine learning, and personalization, we can also be creating intuitive service experiences for all of these touch points. Obviously, chatbots do really, really well when they're augmented with AI. Knowledge bases do really, really well when you're connecting data across your organization and surfacing as much of that information as possible to the customer when they're trying to self-serve. And that's same for the agent, right? The knowledge base and the self-service portal should be surfacing virtually the same kind of an amount of information. Obviously, recommendations, whether it's recommendations about a case to an agent or recommendations to a customer about a similar product, all of those can be serviced by connecting the data, applying ML, and personalizing those experiences. I'm going to dive into one piece of that, which is the agent desktop. I think the agent desktop is one of the biggest pieces of opportunity for us now moving forward in this new world that we're living in. Agents are faced with so many challenges. They have to be so empathetic to our customers, and they're really that touch point that when a customer gets to an agent, they're already likely frustrated about something. So that agent has to be incredibly patient. So we should be empowering our agents with experiences that make their lives easier. Because if we as organizations are making the lives of our agents easier, then they're making the experiences for the customer better. Now, that's that human one-to-one personalization that I was talking about. We have a dream here internally that we would love to create an agent desktop where all of this information was surfaced holistically for an agent. They don't have to do the swivel chair thing and constantly switch from one platform to the other. We would love to see everything unified into one desktop for an agent. Some of those marketing touch points, all of this, holistic information about a customer, who they are, where they live, what are some little tidbits about them, persona information that just goes beyond the general demographic, and then gives them, previous case information, gives them access to subject matter experts. It might look a little something like this. And we really want to make that agent experience that sort of one of the more important pieces of the customer experience. So we've talked about all of the things that we can do from a technology stack perspective to make the customer experience better. Let's recap some of those actionable ways that you can help your support staff augment that experience and make the lives of all of your employees better. We need to start by unifying our customer data. We should ask all of our tools to talk to one another through data connectors and APIs. The marketing automation tool should be feeding the CRM, should be feeding the contact center, should be feeding the help desk, all of our internal tools should be indexed in a repository that allows us to surface everything in an easy-to-use and beautiful service dashboard. That way our teams can be proactive, and we'll be arming them with all of the information they need. We'll also be augmenting their workflows with AI and machine learning to personalize and train their systems. So they'll have the bandwidth to be more empathetic to the customer. The KPIs will solve for themselves. So this is the tech you should be prioritizing today. So I hope that you were able to, that we, had a little fun today. We were able to engage. This is the end, but I do want to try to take some questions. We're at 34 minutes, so I've taken enough of your time. Let's sort of see if anybody in the audience has questions. And we'll take a few of these, and then I'll let you guys go and get a little bit of time back in your day. So COVID has made it really hard on our support team. Where should I be making smaller investments today to help with call deflection? So some of the biggest trends that I've seen in the industry is making your knowledge portals, your self-service portals for the customer, really, really, really easy to navigate and use. So make a small investment, even if it's with a web designer, to make that self-service portal easier to navigate, better looking, really, and easier for your customer to just to read and take in the information. Maybe throw some videos in there, throw some fun graphics. A lot of the self-service portals for customers are really dry and sort of like technical documentation based. I think we need to be treating those self-service portals like almost like consumer websites. I think that'll make a huge difference as your customers looking for information. And if they find what they're looking for in an intuitive environment, they won't bug your agents too much. Another question here. Saw you have a chatbot solution on your website. Are your customers connecting the chatbot data to other parts of the service journey? Absolutely. We are actually, I think one of the most important things about chatbots is not just connecting the chatbot data back into the agent sort of touch point organization. The chatbot information should be part of every customer's profile, and how they liaise with the chatbot should be something that's surfaced to as part of a full customer profile, and that information should be easy to navigate, organized in such a way so that you know when a customer touched a certain piece of the service journey, it says how they touched that piece of the journey and what they said about it. But then also using all of the information from the knowledge base and that self-service portal to train the chatbot itself. So the chatbot can be almost like a natural language solution and will talk to your customer the way your customer talks to you. I think that natural language piece is what's essential for chatbots today to really make the experience feel like less of a bot and more like a person speaking back at a customer. And I'll take one more. Do you find that it's easier to build applications for our help desks internally or outsource? I've seen both approaches. I have seen that it depends on the budget in your enterprise and what your priorities are. Big enterprises like to bring all of their IT infrastructure in-house, and they like to spend a lot more money building holistic sort of architecture in-house so that all those applications can feel like they're working off of one system. But that's a large IT, that's a lot of money spent in IT. A lot of companies now, in order to be more flexible, are connecting with point solutions outside of their organizations that connect into their cloud architecture and their cloud ecosystem so that they can access those sort of SaaS solutions essentially outside of their IT infrastructure and save a lot of money. So I've seen a hybrid of both. And then some smaller companies, like some smaller direct-to-consumer companies or some smaller B2B companies, might actually just have full SaaS solutions that support every piece of that journey. So yeah. I will close there at 37 minutes. Thank you so much. I appreciate you taking the time to learn a little bit about the right tech needed to create an impressive CX. Creating better employee experiences, create better customer experience as well. I think that's one of the things we should not forget, and that the change starts today. And feel free to reach out with any questions. I hope to hear from you soon. Thank you so much.